Hey guys, so for my first stamping project here, I'm going to be working with a photo that I printed at a 7 by 8¼ inch size from a trip I took last summer. And I'm going to be stamping with two different types of stamps. I've got letter stamps here from Kelly Perky. This is a really old set called Mulberry from 2016 that she released. So it probably is not something that would be available anymore, but it's just a nice, tall, thin alpha that I liked. It's in my stash. And then I'm also going to be using this set of hearts here that is from the brand new Elliott Edwards stamp release with Laura Wanzik. That's as of April 2022. And I'm going to be using this geotag heart stamp here. So what my plan is that I'm going to do some lyrics to a song here from the B-52's Roam. So roam if you want to, roam around the world. And over the second roam, that will be the heart sort of centered in the middle of the paper. And then I'm considering doing maybe some chipboard or puffy sticker letters over the top to spell out roam, but all the rest would be stamping. So one of the things I really need to consider is that this is going to be 8¼ tall. These stamps are pretty much, they're just slightly over an inch. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lines technically, plus a bigger heart. So I'm going to just need to do some measuring to kind of space out and center where my stamping is going to go, because it's going to fill up the entire thing. But I thought that would be really fun. And the inks I'm going to be using, I picked a Distress Oxide ink here in Rustic Wilderness. I also have StazOn that I'm going to probably use. I think I might do the heart in vellum and then stitch it. I did do some practice stamping with the green, and what I decided was that since this is green and the heart was green, it didn't really stand out. So I'm going to do the words in green, I think, and then the heart in black, just to make it look a little bit different. So I might cut a little bit wider, stitch around it on my sewing machine, and see how that goes. So I think that'll be really fun. And one thing that I forgot to mention earlier in my stamps for stamping ideas for success was maybe to create an ink binder for yourself to help you. So I have 6 by 8 2 by 2 pocket page protectors here, and then this way I can pull out my ink swatch and test it and see, you know, based out of the greens that I have, that one looked the best. I did also really like this Elliott Edwards Mackenzie ink, but I didn't think that it would stamp on this paper as well, or if it did, it might take a really long time to dry. This is a Scrapbook Customs paper, and it's got like a kind of a shiny finish. So what I did is I flipped it over on the back on one of the sides I'm not going to use, and I did some testing with one of the letters to see how it would do. It dried immediately. It looked really great, and I was happy with the color. So I'm going to trim this down, get the holes punched, and then do a little bit of measuring and then get started. And I can't wait to show you what it looks like when I'm all done. Okay, so I'm going to be zooming through this beginning part really quickly. I'm just getting my paper trimmed down to 7 by 8¼ as well as my photo. I think I just have like the tail end of that here. And then I'm going to use my 6-hole punch to punch holes, and I'm going to put them face to face and do them at the same time so that the holes line up when they're across from each other. So to get started with the stamping, I'm taking one of my samples and I'm just trimming it a little bit closer so that I can start marking out the space a little bit. And I'm going to quickly realize that this set of stamps is not going to work because these are just a little bit too tall. I could have made it work, but it would have been very, very tight. So I'm going to end up switching to a different set of stamps that I just got in my stash from Elliott Edwards and the Laura Wanzik setup here. I'm going to use the uppercase from this set. They're only a 3/4 inch stamp, so it's still going to take up a lot of room, look good. They're a little bit wider, of course. So I started with the bottom phrase, which had the most letters, which was the part that says the world. And you can see how quickly I'm running out of room here. This kind of stamp, the way they're designed, they are cut pretty tight to the shape of the letters. So there's not really much you can do to try to stamp them closer together if you would do individual stamping. So I decided just to go ahead and do them all at one time. So I wasn't happy with that first set of stamping there because these are brand new stamps and they needed I wiped it off and I restamped it again to absorb the ink a little bit better. So I'm going to restamp a few times, but this part I'm going to zoom through because you don't need to see me setting and moving all the letters. You get what I'm doing here. So one thing that bummed me out was that these letters are cut really shallow, and so I was having a lot of trouble with my ink. I was wiping it off, but it still was really getting everywhere. And I'm a bit of a perfectionist, I admit it, but it looks okay. It looks distressed, but it also looks a little bit messy, but I just decided to leave it because I don't have another piece of paper. I can't redo it. So here I am getting ready to stamp with black stays on the vellum. I have just like a little scrap piece of paper. And once I've got that cut and trimmed, I'm going to sew around the edges with my sewing machine. I'm going to go around twice because the messy stitching helps hide any imperfections when it's not super even. And then just a little slowed down shot there to show you how it looked. And once I've gotten that cleaned up, I'm actually roughing up the edges with my fingers a bit just to give it a little texture and dimension. It's not even very much, but just a little. And then I'm going to add my chipboard stickers. They're going to need a little bit of adhesive reinforcement. So I'll show you a live look in just a moment. Okay guys, I am all done here. I'm not super thrilled with the stamping. I don't know if it's just my set of stamps or if just these were designed, but they're so shallow that it's almost impossible to not get ink in the middle of the letters. So it looks cool. It's a little bit messy. It's fine. I'm happy with the way the heart came out. I don't know if you could tell I was like roughing up the edges of the vellum just to give it a little bit of dimension. And then these letters were from the Basics collection from Allie Edwards, but I needed to reinforce them with a little 1/8 inch red tape. So really simple, but I do love it. I think the stamping colors look good, and it's just fun and simple way to, you know, keep this incredibly simple layout still fun with some stamping, my own custom lyric title, and embellishment. So hope you enjoyed watching that and are inspired to go big and bold with your letter stamps.